Now, one key thing that I'm going to have to do is I've got to get the tires off of these 2 old wheels that I have that I'd completely forgotten about, and then put those tires on the new rims, which are visually the same size. Starting off with one, I've got a very old bike puncture repair kit, which has these little lever doodles, which might not be super useful in this situation. But then I've also got a handful of screwdrivers. So, I guess I'll just get started, make sure the bead is off. With a vague idea of what I needed to do, I quickly used that bicycle changing tool and snapped it promptly. Moving on to the screwdrivers, I started to feel like this tire was a little bit stiff for what I was trying to do, so I thought putting it out in the sun would be a good way to heat it up and ideally loosen it up as well. Bringing it back in all nice and toasty, it worked, and I was able to get the first layer off reasonably easy. With the second layer quickly following behind with a little extra elbow grease. Brute force, got it off. Yeah, I don't need that no more. Oh, that's loud. Probably shouldn't break that. I could probably sell it for like $10. Okay, let's see. What's the damage I did? Okay, I don't think that's going to be an issue. With the tire looking healthy enough to go onto the new rim, surely I just need to do what I just did, but in reverse. Yes. Ha 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 ha. I've gotten halfway. Though I was technically halfway, this was only the beginning. One tire down. Let's try the next one on the ground. All right, this has been marinating in the sun for a while. It's hot to the touch. Let's just get to it. Okay, no, I'm trying to jump too far. Slow down. Hold your horses. With me grunting along, I thought with this being my second try that it would at least be a little easier, but it sure didn't feel like it. To be fair on myself, this was a lot faster now that I had the method in my head, but I do feel like I was overworking the tire and potentially causing some damage. With those thoughts at the back of my mind, I pushed on, and I'm kinda glad I did, because though it was very difficult, I did end up getting it on there quite well. Alright, it's in. Let's try pump it up. A seemingly simple task to do once you've just put some tires on a rim, but I didn't realize that this was going to be the hard part. You see, I ended up spending quite a bit of time on it. I knew that the bead of the tire needed to be pressed up against the rim. I just wasn't sure how to achieve this. And initially I thought my little air compressor here was not powerful enough to push enough air in there to
push it against the edge of the rim. So I go down to my local petrol station and use the on-site air compressor for car tyres, assuming that it had a lot more grunt than this little battery-powered one. But after a few attempts there, I still found it to not work. An old method with some bike tyres was to spray a bit of soapy water onto it to help fill in the gaps where the air is getting out, as well as a quick Google to indicate that tying something around it to help put the pressure on the bead was also another good method to try and help get this tyre properly stuck. With all my methods exhausted, I decided that the next day I was going to take my tyres as well as the rear tyres on my Go-Kart, in case I was able to find some cheap or free second-hand ones that aren't as worn, to a few shops around town. I didn't really record many interactions there, but I did get some good advice by one of the mechanics at the ride-on lawnmower store.
They are not pumping up for some reason. We don't usually have this sort of problem, but what we do usually works. But that's just seeping straight out past the rim. We put some greasing around there so it actually forms a bit of a seal.
Yeah.
Don't put heaps on there because it'll just slide off. But
Yeah.
Taking his advice, I solved this problem like I've been solving most of my issues lately. With a trip to Bunnings, I purchased some all-purpose grease that I thought looked appropriate for the job, and I took that home and got ready to grease up these wheels. Aiming to get a bulk of it between the rim and the tyre, hoping that filling in these little gaps will allow the air to build up just enough to begin pushing the tyre against the rim. Surprisingly to me, on my first attempt, I seem to have gotten it bang on. I'm able to pump up this tyre quite easily, giving me a false sense of security that I'll be able to achieve that quickly again.
Here we go. Just needed advice from an expert. I was doing something very similar, but obviously I wasn't doing it well enough.
Unfortunately, on my second attempt, unbeknownst to me, I was not putting on nearly enough grease, which, by the end of it, caused me to fail in this setup. Relieving myself of the stress of the tyre, I go to a local car show and take a few pictures while I'm there. I don't often go to this kind of thing, and I'm not very comfortable filming in public, so this isn't a regular thing for me to do, but I did find this experience enjoyable and I got to see some nice cars. With those cars out of the way, it's time to visit the local gypsy fair, but unfortunately we showed up as they're all packing up and shutting down, so there wasn't really much to see, and it didn't help that it started to pour down with rain. But it still was a good day overall. We got a bit of a team together this morning. We're going to go out to a park, we're going to play with our toys, and we're just simply going to have some fun. Though our first choice of park wasn't quite how we remembered it. Moving on, we quickly found a much more appropriate park across town. It has a nice little forest pathway, as well as a fun little playground. a nice little slide, with a fun little pump track for the RC cars to play on, along with a big, wide open field to ride the go-kart and play with the RC cars. We quickly got comfortable and set up.
It's been too long since we had the feeling. You know that we got the real thing. Oh, oh, so why don't we get together? Get together, everyone. You plus me, that's the answer. Yeah, we're gonna have some fun. Let's all just get together. Get together, everyone. Everything is better, yeah, when we get together.
When we get together, whoa, don't it feel real magical? All the cloudy skies, yeah, we abracadabra those. Let the sun shine, let the look to fly. Hey, click, click, flash. Who's that? It's me plus you in a good mood. Hey, and we gon' do all the good moves, yeah. Wildin' like it's a full moon.
With the cars well played with, I thought now was a great opportunity to try and drive the go-kart while using the drone from a third-person perspective. One unfortunate thing is my phone decided not to record audio for this. Now, thinking it would be easier, I opted to use the dildo controller for the drone. But, to be honest, I think I should have just stayed on sticks, as that's how I normally fly and what I'm most comfortable with. Of course, I had others watching me and a friend close by to ensure safety. With that done and out of the way, I wanted to try and feel some G-forces using my electric skateboard on a merry-go-round. With a big day like this, we had a lot of footage, so there's a lot that simply isn't being used. To finish off this video, here's a couple of little montages just to get a few more clips out there.